We are up to Daf Ayin Beis Amud Aleph, the Mishnah. In the next few blocks, we have a series of Mishnahs, similar concept where a person makes a Tanai and they get, and regarding he's trying to spare his wife from having to marry his brother if he passes away prematurely with no children. So, a few cases. Case number one: if he tells to her, "Zegita, the following is your get, mati. If I die, the following should be your get." Sounds like it only becomes activated again after he dies. Or he uses the expression, this will be a get if I pass away from the sickness. Or la'achamisa. So this is the get that will take effect after this person says he'll die. Obviously, it's worthless because he's saying it shouldn't take effect till after he dies. But that's part number one. Part number two, if he says mehayim, from today, imati, if the person says if I die, or me'achshav imati, or from now, harez a get, it is a valid get. Taisus has here an interesting, why is it a valid get? Because you're saying it's retrospective. If he passes away, then it'll become a get from the time that I give it to you. According to Rabbeinu Tam, there's a difference from mehayim and me'achshav, or at least is mesapik. Mehayim perhaps could mean from the end of today, and me'achshav means from this moment. And the difference is what happens if he dies on that very day, an hour later. Rabbeinu Tam says maybe ma'achshav will still be effective, but mahayim maybe he's not because he says from the end of the day and he died before the get took place. Rabbi Chanas agrees. He says mahayim means also the same as me'achshav. Case number three: if he says mahayim from today and then he says ula'achar misa and after I pass away, it's not if I pass away. Ula'achar misa after I pass away. This person says. So the question is: get ve'ena get? Is he putting in a tanai or is he changing his mind? First, maybe he wants to say mahayim. Is you know what? No. This get shouldn't be active afterwards. The imes, therefore, if he dies, there's a question whether the divorce or not. There's chalitza, but there's no yibum. Case number four. If he says, actually, the next case is about changing your mind. What if he says zegitich mahayim? This you get from today. Imati mechayletzeh, a pass away from the sickness. So he specifies the sickness, but if Amad, then get well. Usually when you get well, you would think that the get is no longer a valid get because it's like quarter conditional, only if he dies. And then he walked around, he became healthy for a while, but then he got sick, the mason, he died. So we assess. This is really the same sickness, it just came right back. There was a temporary lull in between, then had a get. The condition was met, and it's a valid get. But if not, then any get. If it's not, if it's a new condition, then it's no longer a get because the condition was this get is only valid if he dies from that particular sickness. Says the Gemara, Alma, the Mishnah, the beginning, the Mishnah is a little hard to understand. First, he says imati. He says if I pass this get is if it passed away, sounds like the Mishnah says it's not a valid get because imati means it doesn't take effect till after he dies. And then v'hadatani. And afterwards it says, mehayim, from today, the next case of Mishnah, imati, from today, if I die, and we say that what? It's a ma'achri imati, and what? And we say that it's a valid get. He said it should take place only after I die. No, we say it's retrospective. That means imati does not mean it should not take effect after I die. So the beginning of the Mishnah says imati means after the person dies. And the second case of the Mishnah says, mahayim imati, the word imati doesn't mean it shouldn't take effect after you die. It says it's a condition. If I die, mahayim. So which one is it? Alma imati lavkalach. I'm not saying it should take effect only after the person dies. You're right. Imati is very vague. It's a cryptic word. It depends on the context of the sentence. It can be two different words. It can mean today. It can mean la'achamisa. So in other words, if he adds the prefix mehayim, if he starts, he puts the subtext is that it's starting today. Then what does imati mean? It says so conditional. What that if it passes away, it's from today. Then add the word hayim. It just says imati. That means that I won't take effect after the person dies. So the itself is a cryptic word. It depends on the context. If it says it should take effect only after you die, nothing worth. Avuna says, but nevertheless, it's sort of a suffix. And the chalitza, if her husband dies, you can't marry the brother because she's not free. She still is a chalitza. What are we talking about? Well, Lama Klum Tani says on Mishnah clearly that nothing happened. In other words, it's not a valid get. Says the Gemara, Loy Amma Klum, as far as her is concerned, she's a free woman. That's the Alma. But still a suffix if she's divorced, not Liyavnami Asiri, but she's also still also to her brother-in-law as well, because now, on the one hand, the get is lamakum. It's not a valid get, right? So therefore she cannot marry anybody else. So then she must marry your brother. No, but she's asked the brother because maybe it is a valid get. And if it's a valid get, you're not allowed to marry your sister. So you wonder what's going on here. Well, but to say for the next case in the Mishnah is when there's a suffix. We say chayletza. The next case in the Mishnah when he says is mahayim ula achamisa. The Mishnah is the third case. The Mishnah said mahayim ula achamisa. We're not sure if he's changing his mind or just tonight. If the Mishnah only introduces the idea of chalitza here, the only time we have a suffix is if you say mahayim ula achamisa. They mean to change his mind or tonight. That means the first part of the Mishnah, there's no chalitza, there's no suffix. There's no get law amakul means there's no get here at all. She's still the sister-in-law, and she's mechuyev to marry Yibum. Masing, you're right. He definitely argues the Mishnah. Maslis and Rabbanon. Rabbi Huna Domek Rabbi Yaisi. Rabbi Yaisi adds. Rabbi Yaisi's chiddush is he talks about a matana, but if you don't add the word mahayim, Rabbi Yaisi said, well, you say mahayim, just whatever it is. We say that whatever you say, lachamis means lachamis, or whatever you meant. But Rabbi Yaisi says the fact that you dated the star, even if you didn't specify mehayim, it's as if you're saying today. Why else do you put as ma date on the star? The amas manish star mechiyachalav. The date on the star proves that it's as if it says mehayim. So the obvious question is, if it's following Rabbi Yaisi, that means Rabbi Yaisi holds. If you just say, he says ze gitich imati. These words ze gitich la'achamisa. According to Rabbi Yaisi, it's as if he said mehayim la'achamisa. Or hayemi mati, which means he goes back to the beginning. So Rabbi Yaisi is the chalitza namavariyos hold it's mamish mahayim, then it's mamish a valid get. Then why need chalitza? Then you should then you don't need chalitza. You're a free woman. It's a valid according to Rabbi Yaisi, it's a valid get. It's like saying mahayim. So the Gemara so what's the suffix of here? The Monoshech, the Chamim definitely not a get. Oh, Rabbi Yaisi definitely is a valid get. So there's no chalitza here. Either there's Yibum or there's nothing. So you know, that's the suffix. If the halakha Rabbi Yaisi, then you don't need another get. If the halakha Chamim that this get is not valid, then you need Yibum. So says he doesn't know. He said no, do chalitza Yibum. Can't be. Umi Mesapke has a suffix where Rabba Baravua chalish. Once happened, Rabba Baravua was sick. Oy the Gabei Rav Huna Nachman to Vakachela. Rav Nachman. You know what? You're much friendly with Rabbi Ravua. Boy, you name Rabbi Ravua. Even though we're there together, why don't you ask Rabbi Ravua? Halacha k'Rabbi guy, he's never sick in the bed. You know, this is what they talk about learning. Ask him because he's a chayis. Ask him is halacha k'Rabbi not. Amalei Rav Nachman said, "Tabuna time, but Rabbi Yisrael Yadayna. I don't understand Rabbi Yisrael shit. I'm going to ask him halacha yibayim. I'm going to ask him halacha. I mean, I don't understand why Rabbi Yisrael say that it's a valid get. If he says lachamiso, or it says imati. I'll tell you what, I'll make a deal with you. Halacha, you ask him what the halacha is, and then by the time I know I mean halacha, and then I'll explain to you Rabbi Yisrael's view. Okay, so Nachman Boimene asked him, Rabbi said, Hachi Amar Rav said, halacha ke Rabbi Yisrael. The boss of the office, after walked out of the bigger chaylim, Amalei said to him, so what's going on here? Rabbi Nachman said, what's the reason? So Rabbi said, the Hainu Tan Rabbi Yisrael, so he holds, Manish, this what it is, the date. That proves that it's all right. So what's so therefore Rav Huna clearly holds that the halach is now after he accepted the halach like Rabbi Yaisi. So what's the suffix? Why does it say chaletzes for laying misyav bemis? Ela misap kalei. You know what the suffix is? I amar Rabbi Yaisi bal pe oiloi. It's one thing if you write the Tanai in the star. What happened? He didn't write the Tanai in the star. What happened? He gave the star. The star says clearly la'achar mati, right? Or the star says clearly hariyat v'tezach. And then he says mehayim. So when you say about Pedro, you also say, look, the date on the star is Mechir. So he didn't say what about him, sorry. He just said Imati. Because the Rav Yossi still say that the date on the star proves he meant Mahayim and so on, even though he didn't, because this is separate from the get. So his thing is Balpeh, Balpeh.
You need to aid into that?
You need to get him to see the get, the transfer the get, and they'll hear him say as well. He says Zeg gitich imati. Right? That's what he said. Here's you get imati. So we still say that there's manish or star mechichlav. That's the as if say mayim. So the Gemara. Now what's a shaila? Maybe it's as if he's canceling them. Maybe if it's separate from the get, maybe it's like he's changing his mind. Maybe he's changing his mind. No, what do you mean? Maybe he's saying to her, this get will not take effect till after that person dies. And therefore it's not a valid get. Or do we say no? It's as if the date of the star, you annex that to what he's saying right now, it's like Mahayim. How would we learn it? So again, you have a suffix, but now we learned the mission later on. Follow means you get. If I don't come back, the man said we hadn't been exuberant. The man says to the wife, "This is a valid get. I'm not back in 12 months." He's going on an overseas trip. She doesn't want it to remain like Guna, so he says to him, "I'm not back in 12 months. This is your valid get." What happens when Meis B'Toich Yubei Chodesh? He died before the 12 months. Ain't a get. It's not a get. Why isn't a get? Because he's no V'Hayim here. There's no V'Hayim here, and he doesn't want to get. Yeah. Because so therefore it never came to the he's saying to her, this get is not activated until after 12 months. But he's dead already. So who's giving the get after 12 months? V'Tanya Allah, we learned that that's the view of the Rabbanim. He didn't say Mayim, he just said we know when's the get take effect after 12 months. But according to Rabbi Yossi, which we're going to see that Rabbanon, that there's other bezin agreed with Rabbi Yossi, they say no. This mana shastra, the date in the stars, as if he's saying Mahayim, as if he's saying, if I'm not back after 12 months, I want the get to be activated from today. So then it is a valid get. Now by saying he tirulin, our Rebbe said that no, it is a valid get because it's as if he said Mahayim. The Amrina, we say, man, Rabbi Seinu, who is our Rebbe, Rabbi Mishmul, Beidina the Sharu Mishcha. It's unbelievable. Every time we talk about this bezin, this is the bezin of Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, the grandson of Rabbi. They will matter the oil of a guy, and because it was usher till for a while, and they came along with matter, a big thing, and oil is something you use every single day. So it was a big thing. So they were called, oh, these are the bezin hater. Hard to know whether it was complimentary or whether it was a pejorative term. But that's what they were known as, and they were makel. So maybe they were just generally a bezin. They were makel, and they agreed with Rabbi Yossi. So what's he going to try and bring a raya from there? Difficult Gemara. The Gemara is learning pshat in the Mishnah that he said this alpeh, that he gave her the get, and then he said to her that this get, even like bossy, this zekit like bossy, you base chedesh. If I'm not back within 12 months. Who said he said it? Maybe he wrote it in the get. Very difficult to understand. Now there is a big machlekes of shaynim later on in the Masech. Rashi and Taisa, the Rambam, the Rif, Rashi and the Rambam, the Rif all hold that you cannot put a Tanai into a get. The Tanai always have to be done verbal. If you put a Tanai in the get, it cancels the get. Because the whole idea of get there's no strings, and you're leaving strings in there. So the get is not a valid get. It can only do Tanaim and Gittin if it's oral. And Taisha told Mefedesh you could put it in the get. So according to Rashi, we understand the raya. The fact that you're giving it tonight must be oral. According to Taisha, it's difficult to understand what exactly is the raya from this mission. Maybe they put it in the star. I don't remember how they for Taisha in this Gemara. Says the Gemara further. So what's the suffix of Huna? You know what suffix is? That's the suffix. Okay, we bring a raya that because this Bezdin decided that even orally we're going to follow Rabbi Yossi. But what does Rabbi Yossi personally hold? So Rabbi Yossi personally hold that Bapeh also we say that that it's manish star mechichel as if it's saying Mahayim, or do we say no? That doesn't work that way. So the Gemara you tell me that the Rav Huna had a suffix. Well, Amar Rav, didn't the Rav say Hareze Gitachimati? The person said this again. If the person said if I die, shiny mess. Hareza get, it's a valid get. No, and Rav is talking again, Balpeh, same as before. And he's saying that what? Even though you said it, it's as if it's manish or star machir, as if it's Mayim. But if you say clearly, Kisha Amos, that he says, when I, Kisha Amos, after I pass away, it becomes a get. Well, Misa, or after Misa becomes a get, ain't a get. Now, what are we talking about? He added the word Mahayim, so those we're just following the Rabbanon. That's why the first part is a valid get. But Rabbanon you have to tell me something on Mishnah. Rabbanon say, say Mahayim, if Hayim Mati, it's a valid get. So what's Rav adding? But now Mati is a get. So what's Rav adding to the Mishnah? Belav is talking about the case of Mahayim. And in other words, we don't say Mahayim, so why Taki is a good get? You must be Rabbi Yossi. And what's Rabbi's Chiddush? Shmam Loch Rabbi Yossi. That means Loch Rabbi Yossi. And we're talking about again that it's oral. Same question before. How do we know it's oral? Maybe it's written in because according to Rashi and the Rambam, you cannot put it tonight inside a get. You got to go and taste it. Hard to understand. Who said the Rebbe is talking about a case where he said it orally? But anyway, see, I love it. More answer. That's not a problem. The Rebbe knows for sure. Has no doubt, but Abu is not sure. That's why. Or you boys say, I'll go back. Maybe Taka did say Hayim. I'm doing Rabbi Yasi. So what do you Rabbi adding to the Mishnah? But Rabbanon, Bahani, Lishna Itzichlei. That what's the Rabbi adding that we don't have in the Mishnah? She'ani met. If he says she'ani met, with that those words are not found in the Mishnah. Ki'im mati dami. Is what is like he says ki'im mati, which if said Mahayim is all right. It's retrospective. But kisha amos, if he uses the word kisha amos after it's just like kila achamis dami and it's not valid. So that's one version of it. What? It's a suffix, and you do give chalitza. You get the masla sefer. Others say that Abuna's comment is actually on the sefer of the Mishnah. It says in the Mishnah, "Zegit lachmis lama klum." If he says this is the get achamis, it's not valid because it doesn't take effect lachamis. Omer Abuna, but Rabbi Yasi, but according to Rabbi Yasi, that it's as if he said mahayim. So then chayletzes. Why? Because the fact that the date in the Shtar is as if it says Mahayim, and then he says Zeg Gittich Lachamisa. So now we have a suffix. Is he changing his mind or is he making it tonight? No, it's according to Rabbi Yasi, not having Mahayim. Just the date is tantamount to having Mahayim. That's what one is telling us. The Gemara Pshita, isn't that obvious? In the Mishnah, according to the Rabban in the last case, when you said ma'achshav, you add word ma'achshav lachamisa, would have a suffix what you mean. And since Rabbi Yasi holds that not having ma'achshav, just a date, is tantamount to having ma'achshav, so obviously if the Rabban holds ma'achshav is chayletzes v'lebemis, so because Rabbi Yasi, even without ma'achshav, it's as if you said today and then lachamisa, it's a suffix. Chayletzes. Is there Yishanam Rabbi Yasi chayletzes? What's the Rabbi's chiddush if that's what's the Rabbi's chiddush? I would have thought Rabbi Yasi b'hak Rebbe Rebbe does not agree with Rabbi Yasi about manish star mechilov, but Rebbe argues on the Rabbanan on Mishnah who says that it's a suffix and chaletzes. Rebbe holds no. If you added mahayim, there's no suffix. Definitely, all you're doing is saying it tonight, and it's retrospective and it's valid. So I would have thought that maybe Rabbi Yasi, in 2 points, argues the Rabbanan. First of all, even though you didn't add the word mahayim as if you said mahayim, and second of all, the whole like Rebbe that it's a tonight. If it passes away, it's retrospective. The delay Rabbi Solog Rabbi Yasi only argues Rabbanon on one thing, not agree with Rabbi. He agrees with Rabbanon that it's a suffix tonight or it's chazorah, but he disagrees with them. He says, I hold that it's manish shtar mashiach olav. Rabbi loy savlak Rabbi Yasi. What do you mean Rabbi doesn't hold like Rabbi Yasi? The Tani, he says kazeget. Rabbi, in his opinion, we'll see quote in a minute, says the word kazeg. This is a valid get, as if to say, but not any other. Not if you miss out the word mahayeh. Remuted the Rabbi Yasi. We'll see what Rabbi said. And Rabbi Yasi lo savlak Rabbi had Rabbi doesn't hold like Rabbi. The Tani kazeget. He uses the reference kazeget as well in his opinion. Remuted the Rabbi to negate the Rabbi. So first of all, Rabbi Mahi. What does Rabbi say? What do you call this Rabbi? The Tanya we learned. He says mehayim, and they say lachamisa get ve'ein a get, right? According to the Rabbanut Chacham say we're not sure if this is a tanai or is he changing his mind. Say, you know what? I don't want to take effect. Rebbe get, no, that is a valid get. Let me kazeh get. Just say it's a good get, because that means in this case a valid get, but because he added the word mahayim. If he wouldn't have added the word mahayim, then it wouldn't be a valid get at all. So that's the Rebbe. So he knows he's arguing with Rabbi Yasi. Rabbi Yasi, what's this Rabbi Yasi? That's not, we learn in the Mishnah, Kisvu, we learn in the Mishnah, it says, Kisvu, we'll learn later, Kisvu, right, but to get Liishi, right, and give. This is what he said. First he says, right and give, and then he says, give my wife, Im loy basi, if I'm not back, Mekam ma yubez chadish. If I'm not back, 12 months. Kasvu, they wrote it, but 12 months, they wrote it before the 12 months. What he said was, write and give to my wife if I'm not back 12 months. So that Rabban hold, what he's telling them is, after 12 months, I'm not back, write the get then. But they didn't listen. But they wrote it within 12 months. And the Nosno, they gave it, gave it at 12 months, because they didn't listen to the Tanai. And again, Rabbi Yasi says, no, this is a valid get. Why? Rabbi Yasi says, if he really wanted, they shouldn't write it 12 months. He would have started off the sentence with, Im lebasi ma'ad mekam, then kisu through get. because he wrote first kisu to get imlay basi, the writing, I don't care if you write it before the 12 months. And then he uses the word kazeh get, as if say this is a get, but not in the case of Rebbe. Oh, so that definitely it's a fly. Second about further, the Mishnah then says, this is your get, mahayein from today, imati mechayla. This is your get if you pass away from this chayli, but Ahmad Babash, and they walk to the street. Come along, Rav Huna is very active in this here. Rav Huna comes along and says, he's going to say a chiddush that even if you don't spell out the tonight, even if you don't spell anything out, that he didn't say imati mechayla. A person is very sick and he gives her a get. And then he got better. According to Rav Huna, it's so obvious that the only reason why he gave her a get is because of a sickness. So even if he didn't spell it out, if he got better, the get has been cancelled. Says Rav Huna, Gita kimatana. Rav Huna says, we already had this before, that a get is just the same thing like a matana. We're talking about a shechima, a person who's on his deathbed, and whatever he says, his wishes are followed through. Ma matana, just like matana, if he, let's say, got better, he gave away matana right before, he's dying, and then suddenly he got healthy. He can withdraw all of the gifts that he gifted. So av gita, so too by a get. Im Ahmad, even if he didn't spell it out, but if he got better, then chayzer he cancel the get. Why? Because it's so obvious. The only reason why he gave a get is because he thought he's passing away. He wanted to spare her dinner people. So we compare get to matana. Another hand, how do we compare matana to get? Umagita, afgav delay punish. By a get, even though he didn't spell it out. Keep it on ksuba. As soon as he told him right. Afgav delay tunu. By a get, if he is dying and he says write a get, obviously what he wants is not only to write but to give it to her as well. So af matana says anything applies to matana. Keep on the amat tunu, since he said give the get. Afgav delay even though you want kind of from him, it's a should be a transaction. The moment he says give, even though there's no transaction, just like by a get, it's activated because he's dying and we want to carry out his instructions. So too over here. Says the Gemara, and we had before that Shimon Shizuri, that if a person is traveling on a trip and or is being led to the gallows, or if somebody who's dying, if he says write, we write and give, even though he didn't spell it out, because we say that his mind is sort of is a bit confused. Says the Gemara, the Mishnah says, this get is valid from today. The person died from this chayla. But then he got better. The Holosh walked around the street, and then the chola, and he died, and he got sick. The mace died. I'm going to be assessed. If the situation of the first one mess, then it's a valid get. You might want to get now. The chayla according to Rav Huna, if you tell me the moment you stand up, the get is cancelled. Why do you have to assess to say, if it's continuation for sickness, then what do you have to say? The get is automatically buckled. It's too late. According to Rav, even if you don't specify, the moment you got better, that's it. The get is cancelled. So if he got sick again tomorrow, what's the point of Amma? What's the point of assessing it? It's too late. The get has already been cancelled. Mashmei the Rabbe, Mar the son of Rabbi Yosef, said the name of Rabbe, Shenitik Mechayli Lechayli. Almish was talking about that you never got better. You went straight from one sickness to another sickness. So as far as Avun is concerned, the get is still a valid get. He never got better. The question is, but he made it tonight Chayli Zeh. So we have to then assess: is the first Chayli contributing to his death or not? So the Gemara says, what are you talking about? Well, he says, the Mishnah, he got better. So the Gemara says, Amma doesn't mean he got better. Amma means he stood up from this sickness, and people go to the hospital, they won't in one sickness, suddenly they get ammonia, they get something else, and that's where they pass away from. So that's what the Mishnah is assessing. What is the cause of his final death? But there's no Amma, he don't do it on his case, because he never got any better, because he went. For the Gemara, it says, Ammad v'halach b'shuk. You're telling me the Mishnah is still lying there in the ICU, but from a different sickness, it says clearly, Omad v'halach b'shuk. Halach al mish antay. It says, really he's sick. And halach doesn't mean that he got better. It means that he went to another sickness and he's not back to his normal self. He has to walk on a stick now, a walking stick. And the only reason why we're assessing is because he sort of had a semi-improvement, not a full improvement, a semi-improvement. And the question now is, did he die because of the first sickness contribute to this death or not? Says the Gemara, halacha b'shanta. The Gemara, what kamashmal on the chiddush in the Mishnah is the halacha b'shanta to be in umdana. When do we assess? Only if he didn't walk around, he just went straight from one sickness to another sickness and nothing, no recovery at all. Don't talk about the first sickness contributed to it. It's and maybe the first thing made him vulnerable to be able to become sick, the second sickness. But if he sort of semi got better, what do we say then? That's why you need umdana. But either any other case, umdanami leibin, you don't even have to assess. Shamati Singmos Shamim and Asolchay, we learn from here that a person was dying and went from one sickness to the next sickness. Matanosa matana. His matana, he didn't say this sickness. He didn't say this sickness. Just a shchimra. We said before that shchimra, whatever he says we do. What happens? He was, dying from one sickness and he moved to another sickness. According to this, if he never recovered matana matana, because the continuation of the shchimra, because yes. You're right. That is matana is a matana. Says the Gemara.